Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadhari. Yasodanandana Braja Dhanaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Dhanaranjana. Yamuna Tirha Vanachari. Yamuna Tirha Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadhari. Yasodanandana Braja Dhanaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Dhanaranjana. Yamuna Tirha Vanachari. Yamuna Tirha Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Sadushi Shiman. His Divine Grace Shalisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Harival Slava Zabrani Bhaktam Slava Shri Guru Shri Gurangi. Om Agana Tivanandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakans Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sudha Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Turvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patiranam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, Chapter 10, Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka, text number 6. Narayo Vyadaya Klesha Daiva Bhutatma Hetava Ajata Shatra Bhavan Jantunam Rajani Karichit Nadayo Vyadaya Klesha Daiva Bhutatma Hetava Ajata Shatra Vabhavan Jantunam Ragi Karichit Nadayo Vyadaya Klesha Daiva Bhutatma Hetava Ajata Shatra Vabhavan Jantunam Ragi Karichit Narayo Vyadaya Klesha Daiva Bhutatma Hetava Jajata Shatra Bhavan Jantunam Ragi Karichit Mataji Narayo Vyadaya Klesha Daiva Bhutatma Hetava Ajata Shatra Bhavan Jantunam Ragi Karichit Never Adaya Anxieties Yadaya Diseases Klesha Trouble due to excessive heat and cold Daiva Bhuta Atma all due to the body supernatural power and other living beings Hetava due to the cause of Jata Shatra unto one who has no enemy Abhavan happened Jantunam other living beings Ragni unto the king Karichit at any time. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Because of the kings having no enemy, living beings were not at all disturbed by mental anxieties, diseases, excessive heat or cold. Please repeat. Because of the kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at all disturbed by mental anxieties. Actually, here it says agonies. By mental agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold. Interesting translation. Purport. To be non-violent to human beings is to be a killer or enemy of the poor animals. To be non-violent to human beings and to be a killer or enemy of poor animals is Satan's philosophy. So Satan also has his philosophy. Yeah. In this age, there is enmity towards poor animals, and therefore the poor creatures are always anxious. The reaction of the poor animals is being forced in human society, and therefore there is always the strain of cold or hot war between men, individually, collectively, or nationally. At the time of Maharaj Yudhisthira, there were no different nations, although there were different subordinate states. The whole world was united, and the supreme head, being a trained king like Yudhisthira, kept all the inhabitants free from anxiety, diseases, and excessive heat and cold. They're not only economically well-to-do, but also physically fit and undisturbed by supernatural power, by enmity and from other living beings, and by disturbances of bodily and mental agonies. There's a proverb in Bengal that a bad king spoils a kingdom and a bad housewife spoils a family. This truth is applicable here also, because the king was pious and obedient to the Lord and sages, because he was no one's enemy, and because he was a recognized agent of the Lord, and therefore protected by him. All the citizens under the king's protection were, so to speak, directly protected by the Lord and his authorized agents. And thus, when he is pious and recognized by the Lord, he cannot make others happy or under his care. There is full cooperation between man and God and man and nature. And this conscious cooperation between man and God and man and nature, as exemplified by King Yudhisthira, can bring about happiness, peace, and prosperity in the world. The attitude of exploiting one another, the custom of the day, will only bring misery. So the text again. Narayo vyadaya klesha daivam bhutatmak hetava ajata shatva vabhavan jantunam ragi karhichit. Because the kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at all disturbed by mental anxiety, agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold. Namo Vishnu Varaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Kauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Satarane. Here Prabhupada translates, well, someone translates, adaya as anxieties. And then the next word is vyadaya, disease, diseases. So we're in anxiety because of our different being lack of ease. And what are the lack of ease? They're klesha. Klesha means afflictions by the demigods, by other living entities, and by one's own body. These are the causes of our anxieties and our miseries. Ajata. So having no enemy, Kshatrava, one who has no enemy. Ajata means one whose enemy was never born. And Abhavan, happened. Jantunam, of living being. So Maharaj Yudhisthira was, as it says in Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Yukta Vishuddhatma Vijitatma Jitendriya Sara Bhutatma Bhutatma Kauravan Natni Lipyate. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Though he's working, such a person is never entangled. So yoga yukta, one who's actually connected with the divine by the process of yoga. Yoga yukta, vishuddha atma, who's actually a pure soul. Pure soul because one is in contact with the Supreme Pure. When the fire is completely and steadily and always in the fire, then it becomes just like fire. Someone who's always in Krishna consciousness, who's always meditating in love upon Krishna, then that little spark begins to glow, almost like the fire. Vijitatma, Vijita, one who's Atma, one who's conquered the self, the senses. Yoga Yukta Vishuddha, Vijitatma, Jitendriyaha. Vijitatma, Jitendriya, one who's conquered over the senses. How to conquer the senses? We don't conquer it with a sword. Of course, the sword of knowledge is mentioned in the, which chapter is that? 15th chapter. The sword of knowledge. The sword of knowledge is sharpened by detachment and renunciation. So by the sword of knowledge, and what is that knowledge? That actually we're Krishna servants, and that we should engage in Krishna service. Use the senses, including the mind. In other words, use the senses, whatever the sense objects are, dedicate them to Krishna, utilize them in Krishna service. We eat Krishna prasadam, we speak about Krishna, we smell flowers offered to Krishna, like Maharaj Ambrish. This is how we conquer the senses. The senses, as it says, they're always demanding something other than devotional service, if you ever notice. If we leave our mind to itself, my mind just, whatever you want to think about, just think about today. It may not remember Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita. It may drift to other things. And if you don't believe it, just chant a round or two of japa and see where your mind goes. How difficult it is to just chant and listen. Now, if we chant and listen, then we've conquered the mind to some extent. In other words, the mind is always trying to deviate us, as it says in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was a little bit perplexed about the yoga system, because the yoga system means we're going to sit in one place and try and meditate. Now, first of all, to sit in one place for any length of time is difficult, especially if one does not have a very strong body, because as soon as the body moves over, as soon as our spine is not erect, then immediately our first thing we start to think about is, how nice it would be if I just closed my eyes and fell asleep. And what to speak of all the associations we have in our past that will come to our mind. So to conquer the mind doesn't mean that we go out on the battlefield and cut the mind off with a sword or something. As some people may assume, that's how you conquer the mind. No, conquering the mind is, as Krishna says, well, I have to go back to the previous verse. Udarat atmanam atmanam avasadayat atmaiva yatmo bandura atmaiva ripur atmana anatmanatmanas tasyat hinaivatmatnachita anatmanastu shatrudve vartate atmaiva shatrudva chitatmana prasantasya paramatma samahita shitoshna sukudukeshu tatamanapamaya. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached. In other words, if we're detached from the mind, we just let the whole material thoughts at least go by without being attached to them, then that's considered conquering the mind. Just like if you really want to frustrate someone, just ignore them. If you're living with someone, say your husband or wife, and you really want to get on their nerves, just make believe they don't exist. Yell at them, at least as a relationship. But if you just ignore them, they'll get completely frustrated. So similarly, the material nature, yoga chalati manasa, is always trying to allure us by different thoughts, allurements, which all boil down to the same thing. eating, sleeping, mating, defending. But if these impulses are ignored, then we're considered to have conquered the material nature. Not by indulging in them, not by running from them, but by ignoring them, tolerating them. Therefore, Krishna, when he tells Arjuna, you're not this body, and then you're going to have to go out and kill your relatives, it's not that Arjuna thought, well, great. Now I've finally got a chance to kill my relatives. I always wanted to kill someone. Why not my relatives? No, Krishna said, you're going to kill your relatives. It's going to be very unpleasant, but you have to tolerate. And what is that toleration? How does Krishna say conquering the mind? Because Arjuna said it's very difficult to conquer the mind. It's turbulent, obstinate, very strong. And to subdue it, it seems to be more difficult than trying to catch the wind. Impossible to catch the wind. And it's impossible to conquer the mind by trying to conquer it in the way that we usually think of conquering. I hate you, mind, I'm going to kill you. The worst thing is, go away, don't bother me. And the mind goes, boo, boo. And no, please. The more we pay attention to the materialistic mind, the more we're conquered by it. Paravastava bodha jata, yavana jignasita atma tattvam, yavan tavat mai, karmatmaka yena sharira bandhaha. Paravastava bodha jato, yavana jignasita atma tattvam. No, I have enough water. Yavan kriyastava idamano vai, karmatmaka yena sharira bandhaha. One is said to be defeated by the material nature as long as he doesn't inquire about Atma Tattva. In other words, unless we add Krishna in some way to our minds, we're considered to be defeated. Because it's either we're thinking about Krishna in some way, or we're thinking about Maya. There's no other choice. We've got to think of one or the other. And when we voluntarily decide to be in Krishna consciousness, then it's understood that we've conquered the materialistic mind. We don't want to conquer the spiritual mind. The spiritual mind is our real mind. Why should we want to conquer our real mind? We want to conquer the materialistic mind. We want to get rid of it. We want to go aloof from it. We want to go to a different level. And how to do that? Yoga, yukta, vishuddhatma, vijitatma, jitendriya. By engaging, of course, the mind in Krishna's service, engaging the senses in Krishna's service. Sarva, bhutatma, bhutatma. And the most difficult thing is to see all living entities as Krishna's servants. That's the most difficult thing to do. Now, generally people see everyone as my servant. That's easy to do. We see everyone as if we can exploit them in some way, get them to do service for us, what we think is us, then we're friends of them. And if they won't do any service, they're threatening my service, then they're my enemy. Therefore, how to see everyone equally? Well, one thing is we can see everyone equally by just assuming I'm completely neutral to everyone. So that's seeing everyone equally. Not very pleasant, actually, to see everyone equally that way. Not unpleasant either. When one is situated in Brahman, and he thinks everyone is Krishna's servant, let them come and hit me, let them come and throw flowers at me, I'm neutral. That's rather a boring kind of experience. Of course, it's better than falling in love with someone due to lust and hating someone due to anger. Either one we suffer. As soon as we love someone in the material world, from the material point of view, then we're afraid of losing them. And that causes great anxiety. We got to protect them. And how to protect them? We have to be angry. We have to become against someone else. If we fall in love with a beautiful man or a woman, so many people will become our enemies. Therefore, Chanakya Pandit said, one of our enemies is a beautiful wife. So if you have a beautiful wife, she becomes your enemy. Why? Because she'll attract so many other men who try to take her away from you, and therefore you'll have so many problems defending her against them. Or what to speak if she becomes attractive, then attracted to them. Therefore you always be in anxiety. And if we have an enemy, of course, we're always in anxiety that he's going to take away what we like, what we want in this world. Therefore, the positive is, the only way of seeing things positive is sarva bhutastam atmanam, sarva bhutani chatmani, ikshite yoga yuktatma, sarvatrasamana darshana. That the true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized soul sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. And for one who sees me everywhere and who sees every being in me, then I am never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. In other words, we should think we're dealing with our dearest friend, Krishna, in all our relationships. Dealing with him doesn't mean that the tiger is Krishna, and I embrace the tiger. Oh, tiger, I love you. You're Krishna. You're my supreme. Eat me. I'm prasad. No, we see in the heart of the tiger, there's Krishna. And in my heart, there's Krishna too. And Krishna will give me the intelligence how to serve the tiger, the soul of in the tiger. Now, obviously, we're not on the same level as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We can chant Hare Krishna to the tiger, but don't expect the tiger to chant back Hare Krishna and start dancing in the cage. Oh, Hare Krishna. But we're serving the tiger, but don't go in the cage. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Yari Deka Tari Kaha Krishna Upadesh Amara Agai Gurahana Taridesh. That whoever we meet, we should meditate on what should I do to help this soul become Krishna conscious. And then Krishna Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. The more consistently we do that, the more enthusiastically we do that, then the more Krishna gives us the intelligence how to relate to all living entities as spiritual beings. That's real intelligence, spiritual intelligence. And if there's spiritual intelligence, then there'll be a spiritual mind also. The spiritual intelligence will purify our mind, and we'll have spiritual thoughts. And if we have spiritual thoughts, then we'll enter into a platform of experience, of ecstasy, where we won't be bothered by these miseries of material existence. Then the illusion will go away, that we're something other than Krishna's servant. And therefore there will be no more frustration, there will be no more greed to control and lust to control the material nature. These lust, anger, and greed won't be there, therefore narakayate. Kaivayan arakayate, tridashapura kasha prushpayate, durden tendriya kala saprapatali damstrayate, prokata samstrayate. Therefore, Brahman will seem like hellish, boring, completely boring. It's much more pleasant than being suffering all the time. I mean, I'd rather be bored than suffer. If I had a choice between sitting in a room and being bored and seeing a room where people are throwing darts at me, I'd probably take sitting in a room and getting bored over people throwing darts at me, not knowing which is the next misery that's going to inflict me. On the other hand, to sit in a room where everything is blissful, the air is blissful, the people are blissful, everyone's in love and bliss, that's much more pleasant and enjoyable. Shriyat Kanta, Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpatara Rivo, Drama Bunis Chintamani Ganamayi Tama Tayam Amritam Kata Natnyam Gamanam Vamsi Priya Sakhi. So that's much more pleasant. Shriyat Kanta. There's Krishna who loves everyone. We're not loving a God because he's controlling everything. Oh Krishna, don't hit me, I love you. I love you. So don't hit me, don't throw anything bad at me. No, we love Krishna because he's the supreme lover. Kanta, Shriyat Kanta, Kanta, Parama Purusha, Kalpadurava. He's the supreme lover. He loves everyone unlimitedly, even us, the poor little soul, sitting here wondering, well, why should Krishna be God? He still loves us. Imagine you have a friend who's opulent and you keep on telling him, why are you so opulent? Why don't you step down and become humble like I am? Why don't you give up your opulences to me and let me be lorded over the material, Enviousness of your friend is not a very good friend. You don't have a very good friend if they're envious of you, of what you are. But if your friend loves you in spite of the fact you're envious, then they're really a good friend of yours. How many friends do we have where we hate them, we're envious of them, we only wish them ill will against them, and they still love us and provide us everything we need? That's incredible to have such a friend. So Krishna is such a friend, and he's supreme friend eternally. His attitude towards us never changed even in a slightest, no matter what our mentalities we've gotten attached to. He's the supreme lover, and Kalpataruvo. And in that world where everyone lives, even the trees love us. We ask for something for the trees, and they give it to us in the Krishna service, because there's a cooperation between everyone in the spiritual world, because everyone loves Krishna, everyone loves each other, therefore there's complete cooperation to serve Krishna. There's nothing else but that. You don't go there and there's lack of some cooperation. You ask the Kalpa Victory tree to please give me some fruits and flowers to serve Krishna. And it says, well, I'm in a bad mood today, sorry. Come back tomorrow. No, he gives abundantly whatever, because we all have the same interest there. And even there seems to be some dissension between Chandravali and Srimati Radharani. They're sisters actually. Because sisters here never get along sometimes. But in the spiritual world, this dissension is not really dissension. It's actually just a competition who can please Krishna more. Radharani, she loves Chandravali because she knows Chandravali is pleasing Krishna. But she knows Krishna can't be as much satisfied with Chandravali as she can be with herself. Therefore, her only desire is that Krishna be satisfied. That's the only reason why she tries to make arrangements so that she can be with Krishna. Other than that, why should Srimati Radharani be disturbed by Chandravali's pleasing Krishna? She's not at all disturbed by that. She just knows that Krishna can't be completely satisfied without her association. Otherwise, sometimes Srimati Radharani sends Krishna to all her girlfriends. Srimati Radharani is not jealous of anyone. She's wishing, oh, Chandravali, when we fall down and go to the material world, and then I can have Krishna all by myself. She doesn't think at all like that. Chandravali is practically on the same level of loving Krishna as she is. And therefore, she could prevent Krishna from ever seeing, or Yogamaya could prevent Krishna from ever seeing anyone but Srimati Radharani. But that would be very boring. There would be no impetus for competition. There would be no impetus for Srimati Radharani's associates to dress her even nicer every day, to make her even more attractive, so she could defeat Chandravali by rendering more service to Krishna. But here in the material world is exactly the opposite. There's actual enviousness against other living entities, depriving them of enviousness of them, depriving them of life, liberty, or whatever else. And therefore one has to suffer the reactions for that. And the reactions are the kleshas, bodily pains, mental pains, pains from the other living entities, pains from the weather, the demigods, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, tsunamis, pains. They're all reactions for our enviousness against Krishna and other living entities. Actually, we're envious of other living entities because we're envious of Krishna. And because we're envious of Krishna, therefore we take it out on other living entities, our enviousness towards Krishna. We hate everyone in the material world. We're envious of everyone. And although we claim it's love, it's actually enviousness. I want to exploit you. There's some feeling of love because the living entity is by nature loving. And therefore there's some feeling of love there towards other living entities, like the mother towards the child. Prabhupada says the purest form of love in this world. And there's love, but it's covered, it's conditional. I love my son, but there's a limit to how much I'll love my son. I mean, he steps over some line that I draw. It's very rare that one will unconditionally love my son. If he comes after me with some scissors to cut me, my love may diminish a little bit. But still, there's some love there because that's our nature. But as soon as we act against the laws of material nature, especially killing cows, offending the Brahmins, offending the old people, offending women, then the result is that we become covered by lust, anger, greed, and avritam jnana etena, jnanino nitid bharina, kamarupena kuntya, dusprena nalena cha, dumena vriyatevanir, itardar shomalena cha, tobina avrita garvas, atatenenam avritam. As the mirror is covered by dust, as the embryo is covered by womb, or as the fire is covered by smoke, so living entities are covered by different degrees of this lust. Thus a man's pure consciousness is covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So we act due to our illusion, of which the illusion is supposed to be less than the human form of life, if due to illusion we act inimically towards other living entities, then we certainly become afflicted by the miseries of material existence. Then material nature provides us with, if we eat the wrong thing, we're envious of the animals, and we don't, or anything we eat out of greed and lust, and then the result is that this increases. Lust, greed, and eventually frustration, anger, illusion. Material nature provides us with more and more covering if we act in that way. If we act in passion or ignorance, the material nature will cover us more and more. More and more illusion, more and more forgetfulness, more and more lack of intelligence, being able to see things properly. And then we act like that even more, and we go to the gradually, as Krishna says, tanaham dvishita koran, samsresha niradamam, shipramaya jasram ashubam, asvishveva yonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous, the lowest among man, I perpetually cast into the lower species of life. So if we're envious of Krishna, then material nature will cover us more and more. And if we're envious of Krishna, we'll automatically be envious of everything in connection with Krishna. Because there's nothing but Krishna ultimately. And the result is asram bhavam asram yoni apanam muda janmini janmani mapa prapya vikontiya tato yaramam gatiyam. Such sasuras, tanaham dvichatakur asram yoni apanam. I put the asuras into different species of life because that's what they want. They want to get away from me. They don't want to hear about Krishna. The people, when they chant Hare Krishna, they cover their ears. Oh, they're chanting Hare Krishna. They're so envious. Material nature says, if you don't want, here comes Krishna, cover your ears. Go away. These are the people who are eating meat, having illicit sex, taking intoxication, gambling. And then Krishna says, all right, you don't want to hear about me? Then we put you into the animal species life or the plant species. And if you really want to get away, then we put you into as a bacteria in a bug's the intestines of a bug. Then you'll really be covered. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and chants Hare Krishna, and the trees awaken, and all the tigers and deer are dancing, but you'll remain asleep in the bug's intestines. So that's what we want. Or if we want to hear about Krishna, try to understand Krishna, try to serve Krishna by telling others about Krishna and serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, then we'll also become Krishna conscious, and all these miseries of material existence won't affect us at least, because we won't be part of the material world anymore. We'll be in the spiritual world. Therefore Krishna says, Anaditvam nirgunadvat paramatmayam aviyam sharira stopikontiya nakaroti nanalipite. Those who can actually see. Now, if we tell people you're blind, they'll become very disturbed. What do you mean I'm blind? I have 20/20 vision. I don't even need glasses. I see you use glasses sometimes. And you're calling me blind? That's ridiculous. I see perfectly. I know everything. I'm perfect, powerful, and happy. Who are you to tell me? No, they're blind because they're transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of material nature. They're real self. Despite contact with this material body, Arjuna, they're neither entangled nor are they doing anything. That's real vision. Everyone's like that. And to actually relate to people, then we have to relate on the spiritual platform, or else we're just blind to who we're actually relating to. We're just relating to the illusory energy, that's all. If we're not relating to Krishna within the heart of all living entities, and relating to the soul within the heart of all living entities, we're just blind to reality. And therefore, in the sleeping state, as we go on in 8,400,000 species of life, dreaming of becoming the laws of material nature, involving ourselves in material activities, and simply suffering the threefold miseries as a reward for that. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments? And if you want to find out all the rewards, just read the newspapers or go online. You can find all the rewards for forgetting Krishna. They're explained in detail. Any questions or comments? Khala, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.